With the pandemic that came upon us, the rise of video conferencing tools like Microsoft Teams and Zoom has led to more aspects of the sales conversation to occur virtually. And what began as a crisis reaction has evolved into the new normal. But how normal is the new normal? We're talking about how the strong shift from in-person to virtual selling has transformed B2B sales experience. Virtual sales enablement, new organizations, KPIs, everything is evolving. In the Virtual Selling Podcast, we address these issues in depth twice a week with the experts and leaders of these transformations, heads of sales, sales ops, and sales enablement of the most innovative companies in the field. This podcast is sponsored by SalesDeck.io, the new SaaS platform to make your customer meetings more engaging and better prepared. Find out how you can shorten sales cycles, convert more leads, and increase customer engagement. Virtual selling is here to stay, and so is SalesDeck.io.
Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be with Kevin Klammer, who is a sales trainer at Wolters Kluwer. You have a full background in sales from the beginning of your career. You went through all types of jobs there, and now you are a sales trainer. You're working remotely in a department of six people, and you are enabling and training about 100 sales. And you work specifically on the sales process, helping to onboard new recruit, to upskill on the sales process of people, and increasing close ratio and pipeline velocity. Is that correct, Kevin? Nice to
That's
meet you.
correct, Gabriel. Yeah, that is correct. And thanks for having me.
It's really a pleasure. Can you tell us a little bit about Wolters Kluwer?
Yeah, Wolters Kluwer, it has been around since the 1800s, started as a publishing company, anything from, textbooks to getting into medical journals, professional journals, and have really done a great job, transitioning in the last 20 years to digital formats for professional information for, large categories like medical, law, regulatory. So, they started in the Netherlands and, have a large presence across the globe. They get over 40 countries, just under 20,000 employees. And I'm based in the United States with a sales team that focuses on the legal and regulatory industries.
Great, and I have them as a customer in France in my marketing agency. Do you have a fun fact that you want to share with our audience?
I, have been a singer-songwriter probably since I was in high school. And, have written and recorded, a bunch of songs. I think I've got about 6 of them published on major music platforms like Spotify and Amazon Music, Apple Music, things like that. So if you're interested in someone who plays a little acoustic guitar and then sings from the heart, go check me out.
No, great. And I will ask you to share your contact at the end of the podcast. You will be able to share also your Spotify account. That's nice. What we willing to discuss together is really about how do you use sales methodology to build your training and to twist your sales process within Wolters Kluwer with the different sales methodologies that exist, the books, the companies that could help you also on the different element of the sales process. So first question, do you have some methodologies that is really the basis of your sales process, or you are grabbing piece of methodology on different books or from different authors?
Yeah, I've been with Wolters Kluwer only for about 4 months now, but and with a background in sales and, an interest in different types of sales techniques and sales methodologies. But what's been interesting since I've been at Wolters Kluwer is that we tend to, take a holistic approach to our sales process. So there's not any one methodology that applies across, everything from prospecting to closing. We tend to use a little bit more of, we call it insight selling, which is based upon the challenger sale methodology. So kind of, finding pain points and helping the customer discover that, the pain of same is greater than the pain of change that we might recommend. We have worked with different companies like Demo to Win, for achieving, really nicely structured demonstrations that are proven to kind of convert people to the next step of the sales process. And, right now I'm leading some negotiation training for our group based upon a book called Strategic Negotiation by Brian Dietmeyer. that is a good combination of, preserving the relationship in the negotiation process rather than trying to, to kind of put your customer over a barrel and win every single aspect. It's about they win some, you win some, and you move forward with a good feeling about the long-term prospect of the relationship rather than just quick wins. So yeah, I'd say we probably utilize a holistic grab and go methodology to constructing our sales process to make sure it fits who we are as a sales team, what our goals are for who we want to be as well. And then making sure that it aligns with the how we sell our products and how we want to achieve our short and long term goals.
Great. And how do you use these methodologies, what you come from the books, to adapt them and to your environment and to what you sell, and also to transmit it to your sales team?
So we're fortunate that our company is a big believer in ongoing training and upskilling. So that's where my team kind of comes into place. So we're involved from day one when an employee comes on board. Um, we're fortunate that we tend to hire, fairly seasoned sales reps. There's not a lot of individuals who are, just out of colleges or universities that have never sold before. We tend to bring in people that have some experience. Um, so, we're not reinventing the wheel for a lot of these folks when we bring them on board. It's just making sure that they understand the steps of our sales process, how we tend to operate within those steps. And then making sure we're providing ongoing training and education for our sales team, whether they've been at the company for 2 years or 20 years. We want to make sure that, we're, continuing to sharpen the axe for our sales team and our sales managers throughout their tenure in the company.
And to do that, you share with them the methodologies that you are inspired from, or it goes directly to the training. So how do you inspire them, in fact?
It's, it's both. So for example, the negotiation training that we're about to put the team through is, it's done over about a 3 or 4 hour period. So we start with, the methodology, coaching on the process, and we'll do breakouts where the reps and managers can engage in mock negotiations and role play, and how to institute some of the things that we just taught and coached on. And then we come back and share best practices as a group hey, here's what we found. Here's some things that worked. These things were a little bit more challenging. And then we continue to refresh that, throughout the process to make sure that, we're becoming experts of the process rather than it being a one and done training.
Great. So let's go through the different process and go see the different methodology you use at each steps. When you go to prospecting to do cold calls or email outreach, do you have a specific methodology for that, or do you have something that you prefer between cold calls and emails? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I'm excited, for what I've been exposed to at Wolters Kluwer in terms of the assets and technology that we give to our sales team. I think, for some reps are more open to adopting, sales automation tools. So we use outreach to try to make sure that we're developing sequences and cadences, sharing the ones that tend to be working and converting the best. And, getting the members of the sales team that are a little bit hesitant to adopt it to show them why they should. So, as a leadership team, we're really big on, let's make the initial part of the sales process as easy as possible and, base it upon tactics that are proven to work on different campaigns. I'm a believer that cold calling is not dead, that, sales reps need to be still picking up the phone and reaching out to people. I think that, with the pandemic, we've become even more reliant on email marketing, and email initial outreach, which I think it's an excellent tool, but it should be part of the tool arsenal, right? Shouldn't be the only tool in your tool belt or toolbox. And then, social selling, I think is something that's really evolved in probably the last 10 to 15 years. But you got to do it the right way. So we coach a lot on, if based upon which tactic you're going to employ, what should you say if the decision maker picks up the phone, right? Lead with intrigue and impact. You're going to have a value proposition very early on to try to engage that person, because you got to win like the first 7 seconds of the phone call. Same thing with email. We coach on, how long should the email be? How many words in the subject line? How many questions should you ask? So we look at a lot of, research and see, what converts at the highest rates. If we were to leave a voicemail, how long should it be? Data I've seen shows about 7 to 15 seconds. And you got to have some intrigue. You can't just leave your name and your phone number and ask for a call back. So it's got to be a value proposition loaded to just about anything in that initial outreach. And it's going to be succinct and concise. So that's kind of how we view the initial part of the sales process.
That's great. You were talking about demos, so and you told me that you worked with a company which is Demo to Win to build your demo process and to adapt your demo. Can you explain us what you have done and what different type of demos you have?
Yeah. What's been really neat about that, and I just was at a training myself for that a few weeks ago in New Orleans. It provides a process, and I think that's what most salespeople don't have. They don't have a structured process in which to operate within. So we try to do that, not just, in general, but, within each step of the sales process, there might be a sub process. So if you're going to do a demonstration, we've worked with Demo to Win. And what their structure is, it's a little bit more, instead of just showing your screen constantly of your product or your software, it's a little bit more telling than it is showing. So you're going to tell them what they're going to see. You'll show them briefly, then you kind of recap by telling them what you just showed them. So I think that was interesting to see. It really, for me too, when I gleaned out of that, for what we want to take to our sales team is, sometimes there's glitches in technology. Sometimes things don't load as fast as you want. To take screenshots of some of your software and your products, and you can kind of manipulate it into a way where it looks like you're doing a live demo, but you got the certainty that technology is not going to fail you at any point. So it provides you with a little bit more control in that situation. So I kind of like that from the process that we coach our team on there too.
No, that's interesting. And therefore you have designed different demos depending on the pains of your customers, I believe.
Yeah, you try to customize as much as possible. So trying to understand what's important to the customer going into the demonstration. So, every step of the sales process kind of relies upon the step before it. So if we do a really good job in discovery in identifying maybe some of the pain points and trying to, identify a need that maybe one of our products might be able to solve or help out with, you want to customize the demo and show them the type of product that would most address their needs and wants.
And typically for the discovery, what is the type of methodology you are following?
Yeah, that's where we use a little bit more of the challenger sale methodology, which is, kind of uncovering a pain point and teaching the customer a better way. So I know I liked a lot of examples in that book about, purchasing agents, and they kind of go through a series of, I imagine this is a problem for you. Here's a solution that we have that maybe you're not thinking of that would enable you to put your purchasing on autopilot, right? So I think as much as you can teach the customer to uncover the pain points and teach them that maybe there might be a better way, we like that element of the challenger sale methodology, which we use in an inside sales model.
Okay. And so when you train your people to inside selling and challenger sales, you tell them that your inspiration is coming from challenger sales, or you're not quoting the books?
Yeah, it's not, directly quoting the books. It's kind of giving them insight of where the process and methodology comes from. So, we're Demo to Win is a company that, we actually bring in to train the reps. Whereas on other parts of the sales process, sometimes as the sales leadership team and the members of our training and enablement department, we will study the content, we'll become experts on it, and then we'll teach it based upon customizations to our sales process and our products.
Okay, so you design the questions for the discovery. You together and adapt the methodology to directly teach the right questions, the right discovery questions, and be sure that they are adapted to your market.
Yeah, give some examples of, questions to ask, but it's more so about, the reasoning why we ask the types of questions that we do. It's all designed to kind of uncover, pain points, issues, trying to see if there's any problems that we could solve for the customer. So getting them to try to open up about, giving a realistic, honest picture of, what things could be done better to help make their day and their company run more smoothly.
Okay, great. And the last part of the sales process is negotiation. And you just finished a training on that. What do you want to share on this training? And I know that you work on very large million deals. How do you manage from the small deals to the larger one to open for negotiation?
Yeah, I think, some of the buzzwords that I've taken out of it are empathy, I think is really one of the biggest ones. And it's not just the main book that we're training on, but, even one that's been more popular here in the last few years, which is right here, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Yeah, have you read it?
Yeah, great book. I mean, a lot of great tactical advice in there. So that's we incorporate a little bit of the theories there in terms of how to, kind of get people to open up, how to discover, what, where the boundaries are, right? Getting someone to say no, and vice versa kind of defines, where the negotiation starts and ends. But what we really like about the structure that we use with strategic negotiation, as the literature we based our training off of, is that it's a regimented process. In terms of, trying to estimate what might be important in the deal, trying to validate, those initial estimations with internal sources, external sources, but ultimately with the customer. I think the empathy and the openness in the negotiation process is what stood out to me. Don't be afraid to have, very frank conversations on the front end of, what needs to be included in this deal for you to feel good about moving forward. And what would be your backup plan if we can't come to an agreement? So I think it's all about, being able to empathize from the other person's point of view, being able to understand what's important to them. Then I think you can design, the most beneficial negotiations by trying to marry what's important to both sides, and understanding what happens if we can't agree. So, understand the alternative and make sure that your offer is better than their alternative.
Great. We are arriving at the end of the show. Do you want to share your contacts with the audience for them to contact you or to discover your music also?
Yeah, the music's under my name, just like you're probably seeing on the screen there. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Absolutely 100% open to new connections all the time on LinkedIn. Love to travel. So I love going to France. My wife's a big fan of Paris. So shout out to your home country there, Gabriel.
It will be a pleasure to meet you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We even went to Bordeaux a couple years ago. It's beautiful there too.
That's
So,
great.
and email, if anybody wants to send an email, it's my first name, Kevin dot last name Klammer at wolterskluwer.com.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. And last question about SalesDeck that you just tried before. What do you think of the product?
Yeah, I like the interactivity of it. I like how, it kind of combines, note taking with presentation. So, that's a lot of kind of coaching our sales team on too, is that, in order to achieve that empathy and that consensus in, the sales process and in a negotiation, you need to show that you're listening to their wants and needs. So I think your software, from what I've seen so far, does a really good job of showing that you're a good active listener and you understand what's important to that person in the conversation that you just had. So definitely like that with the cards that you were able to play there.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. This episode of the Virtual Selling Podcast is over. Thanks for sticking around. Join us twice a week for a new episode with new stories and challenge of giants in the field. If you enjoyed today's episode, we are always listening for your feedback. Share the show and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss any episodes. This episode was brought to you by SalesDeck.io, the virtual selling platform that increases your sales team efficiency and sales readiness, enables remote management, and advanced sales operational excellence. Book your SalesDeck.io demo today to discover how you can close more deals with engaging and better prepared customer meetings. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you.